Have you ever taken a quick break in your day and wondered, how long can an animal live? Now just imagine. While we, humans, celebrate the rare feat of someone blowing out 100 birthday candles, there are silent creatures that pass through centuries as if waiting for a bus on the corner. It's almost unimaginable, isn't it? But believe me, while empires rise and fall, wars redraw maps, new technologies revolutionize everything, and trends come and go, there are animals that go about their own pace, sturdy and almost immortal. They live so long that they become eyewitnesses to the planet's history. Some, if they could talk, would tell about the arrival of the first Europeans in the Americas, Aztec civilians running through Tenochtitlan, or even the construction of the oldest temples in forgotten civilizations. Can you believe it? What's the secret of these species that evolved to break longevity records? What makes them so different from us, and even from other animals? Is it the environment they live in, unique genetics, diet, pace of life, or is it pure adaptation to extremes? Today we're going to journey through serene lakes, frozen seas, ocean depths, remote archipelagos, and even millennia-old underwater forests to reveal astonishing creatures that challenge everything we know about aging and survival. Get ready to discover stories of adaptation, evolution, and biology that will make you rethink the very concept of a long life. Go ahead and click like and subscribe to the channel. I can guarantee that by the end of this video, it's impossible not to look at the natural world with new eyes. Stick with me, because what's coming next is sure to impress even the most skeptical. Let's start this list in Oriental gardens, places where calm and contemplation are part of the scenery. Japanese gardens are world famous for their colorful carp, quietly gliding under the surface of the ponds. But behind these vibrant koi carp lies a fascinating biological phenomenon. They can live not just decades, but centuries. The carp Hanako is a legendary example. According to records, she lived an astonishing 226 years in Japan. For context, Hanako was born before the United States declared independence, even before Napoleon invaded Russia, and only died in 1977. 2 world wars, electricity, manned flights, radio, television, the space age. Hanako witnessed it all while serenely swimming in her pond. The longevity of these carp isn't just luck. They blend several key ingredients for a long life: slow metabolism, a safe environment, a balanced diet, absence of predators, and very little stress. In winter, for instance, they enter something similar to an aquatic hibernation, slowing down their metabolism even further. Another curious point, different Asian countries have developed special breeds of carp, selecting not only for beauty, but also for resilience and longevity. In Japan, koi fish have become symbols of perseverance, strength in adversity, and even good luck for families. In traditional ceremonies, children welcome spring by hanging carp-shaped flags to bring longevity to their family. For many Japanese, adopting a koi carp is like planting a tree that will outlast generations. It grows with the family and can even be passed down from grandparents to grandchildren. But it's important to remember, to reach such longevity, it's not enough to just release the carp into a pond and forget them. One needs to invest in water quality care, a rich but balanced diet, ample space and health monitoring. After all, any drastic change in environment can seriously affect the well-being of these animals. Did you know that the average life expectancy of a dog is 10 to 15 years? A parrot lives up to 70 years. Now imagine waking up every day next to a carp that accompanied the lives of your grandparents, great-grandparents, great-great-grandparents, and just kept going, leaving the calm ponds for the freezing waters. Of the Arctic, we meet one of the absolute champions of marine longevity, the Greenland shark. Unlike the great white shark, famous for jumping over boats in Hollywood movies, the Greenland shark is a discreet predator, nocturnal, swimming at an almost meditative pace. But don't be deceived by their calmness. They can live no less than 400 years. Scientists arrived at this estimate using an innovative method: radiocarbon dating of the crystals in their eyes, a structure called the lens nucleus, which records the animal's age much like tree rings. Just imagine, one of the specimens analyzed was swimming through Arctic depths in the time of Queen Elizabeth I, while Brazil was still an isolated colony of the Portuguese Empire. Before the first light bulb, the telegraph, the airplane, the cinema, these sharks grow incredibly slowly. It takes about 150 years to reach sexual maturity. That is an entire lifetime of waiting to reach adolescence. After that, they reproduce only a few times in life, in cycles that can last decades. So what's the secret to such longevity? One of the main factors is an exceptionally low metabolism. They swim at less than 2 km/h in near-freezing waters, so their bodies consume little energy and undergo less cellular wear and tear. The extreme environment acts as a kind of anti-aging shield. The cold minimizes oxidative processes, and the depths keep predators away. Interesting fact, the flesh of this shark is toxic to humans, though for Icelanders it's a fermented delicacy called hakal, enjoyed on festive occasions. An example of extreme adaptation. To survive the cold, their bodies produce high concentrations of chemicals that would be deadly to us. This species still holds many mysteries. They are slow, reserved, and rarely seen by divers. There are reports of Greenland sharks with 19th century harpoons embedded in their bodies, showing that coexistence with humans spans more than an entire era. If, for humans, turning 30 marks adulthood, can you imagine just growing up after your 105th birthday? It's another rhythm, another logic, living proof that nature has its own timekeepers. In a world where everything seems fleeting, in the depths of the ocean there's a discreet creature, living slowly, almost unnoticed. The quahog clam, found in the sediments of the North Atlantic, is possibly the longest-lived non-colonial animal on the planet. One of these clams surprised science and even got a name, Ming, referencing the Chinese dynasty that existed when it was born. When collected in 2006, laboratories determined, by the growth rings in its shell, Ming was an incredible 507 years old, and there is evidence that other specimens may have broken this record. Quahogs live buried in ocean floor sediment, filtering water and growing at a minimal pace. They don't face aggressive predators, remain stable in low temperatures, and avoid all types of stress. In other words, over evolution, they've developed a lifestyle almost immune to time. Picture this. Ming was born around 1499, while Leonardo da Vinci was still painting masterpieces. It lived through all the most recent centuries of human history and survived all manner of natural phenomena. These clams attract scientists' interest because they accumulate genetic damage at an exceptionally slow rate. Their immune systems and cells seem to delay aging almost to the extreme. Studying their mechanisms is currently one of the keys to understanding how multicellular organisms can avoid age-related diseases, such as Alzheimer's, cancer, or simply senescence, the biological process of growing old. Beyond individual longevity, quahogs are essential to the balance of coastal marine ecosystems. They recycle nutrients, serve as food for other species, filter water, and create microhabitats, a true link between the distant past and the present. Reflection. If tree rings tell part of the planet's history on land, the rings in these shells are true secret diaries of centuries spent underwater. When it comes to long life, no animal is more emblematic than the giant tortoise of the Galapagos Islands. These reptiles are worthy representatives of nature's calling to move without haste and literally to live in their own time. The most famous example, Harriet, was reportedly collected by Charles Darwin in 1835, though the records are debated, and lived until 2006, reaching 176 years. Another specimen, Adwaita, kept in captivity in India, is believed to have surpassed 250 years. Living a slow-paced life with calm movements and an almost entirely vegetarian diet, these tortoises have adapted to the harsh Galapagos environment. Their thick, sturdy shells protect against predators and even from inconsistent weather. Their metabolism is strikingly economical. They digest slowly, spend little energy, and can go for long periods without eating or drinking water. This lifestyle has ensured their survival through many threats, from historic hunting to the arrival of invasive species and even the slow or not so slow changes in climate. Another impressive feature is these tortoises' ability to store food and water in their bodies for months at a time, allowing them to travel between islands in search of food or shelter. On an evolutionary scale, slowness has been their secret weapon. Evolutionary comparison. While the average lifespan of large mammals like horses or elephants rarely exceeds 70 years, these tortoises stack up the equivalent of 3 human generations. or more. They've witnessed scientific expeditions, technological revolutions, and even historical moments in the countries of the people who study them. The longevity of these tortoises has become a symbol of perseverance, resilience in the face of adversity, and of course a reminder that every species has its own internal calendar, dictated not by haste, but by adaptation to nature's cycles. Arriving in the icy Arctic waters, we find another extraordinary animal phenomenon, the bowhead whale. Whales are long-lived animals, but this species breaks records. There are scientific reports of live whales about 211 years old. How did they find out? Simple, yet unsettling. 19th century harpoons were found implanted in the bodies of hunted whales, indicating the animals were already adults before the Napoleonic Wars. Measuring up to 16 meters long and weighing over 75 tons, the bowhead whale survives extreme cold, thanks to a layer of body fat up to 50 centimeters thick. This is the physiological adaptation that, together with a metabolism slowed by the cold, brings these giants their extreme longevity. Their reproductive cycles are also slow. Maturity arrives only between 15 and 20 years of age, and between each pregnancy, there may be gaps of up to 6 years. This results in a very low population rhythm, a perfect balance with the challenges of their harsh environment. Scientists believe that several factors favor such longevity: absence of natural predators, a nutrient-rich diet, and again, slow metabolism due to life in cold, deep waters. But of course, it's not always smooth sailing. Ancient populations suffer from pollution, historic hunting, and habitat changes. Some individuals are true survivors from times when whaling, promoted by humans, was common and extremely aggressive. Bowhead whales are seen in many Arctic indigenous cultures as symbols of harmony and balance between man and nature, representing the connection between generations living from the sea for millennia. They witnessed cities industrializing, experienced climate changes, and resisted predatory actions from humans. They are literally swimming against the flow of time. If you think only large creatures at the top of the food chain break longevity records, get ready for a surprise. Black corals, tiny and extremely discreet, are actually millennia-old colonies that can live over 4,000 years. A study published in 2009 revealed that colonies of these corals near Hawaii grew about a centimeter a year, and some had already been there before the rise of civilizations like the Mayans or the Roman Empire. That is, while humanity went from the Stone Age to the Metal Age, these beings were already seasoned on the ocean floor. Corals aren't plants, but colonial animals, thousands of tiny polyps that together secrete rigid skeletons made of calcium carbonate. With slow growth and a minimalist lifestyle, they filter nutrients from the water and remain practically immune to the passage of time, except in cases of environmental catastrophes. They provide shelters for countless marine species, functioning as rainforests of the underwater world, centers of biodiversity and ecological stability. However, the longevity of black corals is a double-edged sword. Precisely because they are slow and sensitive, abrupt temperature changes, overfishing, and pollution put them at real risk of irreversible disappearance. Reflection: unlike centuries-old trees cut down for their wood, a fragment of this rocky forest takes centuries to recover. If nature is time, corals are its living memory. If all the creatures on this list have defied biological logic, here we reach the absolute pinnacle. A tiny, almost invisible jellyfish capable of simply rejuvenating itself indefinitely. When threatened, it can start its life from scratch, resorting to a trick of cell regeneration without precedent in the animal world. Tortoise dorni, discovered only a few decades ago in the Mediterranean Sea, amazed scientists with its reversible life cycle. Instead of dying from old age or serious injuries, it can regress back to its juvenile stage, a ball of polyps stuck to solid surfaces, and restart its life cycle over and over. This is called cellular transdifferentiation. Its cells literally swap functions, rebuild structures, and completely rejuvenate the organism. In theory, Tortoise dorni could live forever, as long as it avoids disease, predators, and environmental accidents. The biological immortality of this animal has inspired research into longevity, aging, regenerative medicine, and even cancer treatments in humans. It's as if we, when faced with any danger or aging, could go back to childhood and start a new life, with the same experience, but in a renewed body. Nature continues to surprise even the most optimistic researchers. Of course, this immortality has its limits. No one completely escapes the laws of nature. But without a doubt, Tortoise challenges everything we know about the life cycle. Throughout this dive into the animal kingdom, two things become clear. First, that longevity is always the result of creative adaptations, stable environments, and life strategies different from ours. And second, that even outside science fiction, there are already creatures exceeding the limits of time, with natural techniques of renewal, controlled metabolism, or extreme survival. While we celebrate 1 century of life as an extraordinary feat, for these beings it's just a tiny fragment of their stories. From colorful fish spanning countless generations in a pond, to sharks and whales experiencing centuries navigating frozen waters, to ancient mollusks on the seafloor, and corals and jellyfish capable of defying death itself, each animal on this list brings not only an admirable biological record, they are true pieces of a puzzle about how nature sees time and evolution. Now I want to know from you, if you could choose, would you like to live hundreds or even thousands of years like these creatures? Which of these immortals impressed you the most? Let us know in the comments below. Your feedback is essential to bring new curiosities, expand on the topic, or suggest other intriguing species. And if you like this kind of content, I suggest checking out our upcoming videos. For example, animals that survive extreme temperatures, creatures that challenge the vacuum of space, or secrets of species that have survived nuclear radiation. Just think, nature is always more surprising than fiction, and each species has a unique lesson about adaptation, persistence, and the passage of time itself. Don't forget, subscribe, share, tag your curious friends, and above all, never stop asking questions. After all, the adventure of knowledge has no expiration date. Until our next dive.